All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever you happen to be listening to this podcast. This is GH2 Podcast. I am GH2, George Wright II, BKA Dr. GasCanMan. And today I am joined by two very lovely ladies that I hold near and dear to my heart. Miss Alex the Alex.
Hey, y'all.
And Miss Bridgetta Giles.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
Y'all so funny. So we was already talking before we got on here. So, but we're gonna go ahead and jump back into what we was talking about. But we were just talking about some things about therapy and all that good stuff. But before we get into that, I just want to know real quick what y'all been up to. We can start with you, Alex. What you been up to?
I guess I've been getting over COVID. The last time we recorded was probably the day I got it, and today I've been strong for a few 5-6 days, so I'm okay. And back working, and trying to start the new year. My new year just started like Wednesday, so
Facts.
That's
She's been outside, y'all. She's been outside. What about you, BG? What you been up to?
I took a nap, man. I am refreshed. Other than that, podcasting, TikToking. I actually had an opportunity to work with a behavioral health expert here on how to improve their care practices with the LGBT community. So that was dope. So yeah, that's it.
That's dope. And of course, I've been podcasting. I've been sick. I had a terrible stomach virus thing. I done lost weight. I done lost enough weight now to where, I'm gonna start thirst trapping on the gram because now, I feel like I look real good with my shirt off. Also, other than that, of course, been back in therapy. Back in therapy. I took a little break from going, just really honestly, because life got kind of really busy, but I just really wanted to take a moment. I've been doing some journaling just about how I've been feeling and stuff. So I went back to therapy, had a dope session. And, we talked about something that we were actually talking about before we started recording. We started talking about barriers, how we create false barriers and hurt ourselves. Like, for me, one of the false barriers that I've created in relationships is I don't present me. I don't present myself. So my best relationships have been relationships with people who have actually seen me and know me. My best relationships. My worst relationships are with people I meet and I court, and then I don't really present myself. I could be kind of abrupt. I have a sharp tongue at times, and I don't want to say I hide that, but I just I don't show people who I really am. So when they finally really start to see it, they be like, "Oh, real deal, you a motherfucker." Like, "Oh, damn." And they can't really deal with it. But when I really show myself, I've been finding that, and the funny part about it is, when I show myself to people who are around me on a regular basis, they give me all of the love, the admiration, and all that good stuff, but I hide it from people who I'm just getting to know. So it was something I had to learn about myself that I feel great now because I understand I really just need to be myself, because it took so much work for me to get to this point to where I could just be myself. So now I'm just gonna be myself, and people gotta love it or hate it, because either way I don't really give a shit, because I really like me more than anybody else in the world other than my children. It's pretty much, I love myself and I love my children, and anybody else, if you don't like it, make it eat a dick, a bag of them. Sorry, that's kind of abrupt, wasn't it? But that's just how I feel, guys. I'm sorry. But what?
you was going so well.
You were right there. Right there.
I was right there. No, but wait, sorry, that was Dr. GasCanMan. That wasn't GH2. Like GH2 was talking about his therapy experience. Dr. GasCanMan popped out because look, that's one thing me and my therapist talked about is my therapist
Your
actually
bipolar disorder? That's what y'all
no,
talking
I'm not bipolar. I allow the duality of my personalities to operate. I don't tell him to shut up. You know how like sometimes, right? You know the thing in your head you be wanting to say all the time, and you keep it to yourself, and then you got to go home and have a conversation with yourself and say, "I would have said this." No, I'm just gonna say that shit. I'm just gonna say that shit. I'm gonna say that shit, and I'm gonna be okay, and you're gonna be okay, and we're gonna be okay. Might change the way you feel about me, but I can live with that. I think one of the other things that we talked about is we work so hard to like ourselves that there's so many things we condition ourselves to do to not like our own selves.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, man, like, because we were talking about last year, November, not last year, sorry, 2020 November, when I was in therapy, I didn't like myself. I didn't really like myself. And I didn't like myself because if y'all didn't know me, and I don't think y'all so at one point in time in my life, I was a people pleaser. And when I stopped being a people pleaser, when I was a people pleaser, I used to be lying all the damn time. Because when you're in that people pleaser mode, like you will lie to make people feel happy and all this other stuff. But and then also when you're a people pleaser, you don't know how to say no.
Right.
So like I like hated myself when I was in people pleaser mode. But I didn't really understand that. I didn't really understand that I hated myself, and I was doing all these toxic behaviors. Like that Dr. GasCanMan shit, like when it was really heavy and prevalent, when I was getting drunk, blacking out places and all of that other shit, that was because that was a person who hated himself to the max, right? And then around November, 2020, I'm like, I already started taking better care of my health, going to therapy. I just finally got to this part in therapy where I was like, shit, I don't like myself. And I think that's hard for a lot of people to be honest with themselves about, that you truly don't like yourself. If you think about, or you don't truly love yourself, when you look at some of the things that you do, in how you give yourself away to people, and people have more value in your life than you have for your own self. So, therapy kind of jacked me up. So, I was kind of messed up for a little bit. But enough of the deep stuff.
Therapist, shake it up for you.
Hey man, look, therapy can shake it up, but therapy can shake you up, and therapy can also get you to a point where a good therapist is like a good personal trainer. A good personal trainer doesn't yell and scream. They motivate you, they correct you, and then they talk about the practices that you got to put in place to be successful. That's a great therapist. A bad therapist just wants to get rid of symptoms. And like sometimes you got to know why you overeat. Sometimes you got to know why you don't want to go into the gym and really work out. Mostly if you're a person like myself who's had certain health concerns from allowing my body to get to a certain weight and different things like that. So I think you definitely got to work through that. Right. So Jetta, this is probably your first time, but we used to do this. We used to do this a lot on the GH2. We do this a lot with the Cash App crew. What we do is we take 2 minutes and we rant about something that gets on our nerves. So shit. I'm gonna take your virginity on today. Give it here. And I need you to give us 2 minutes, your 2-minute rant about whatever it is you feel like talking about.
Oh, you picked the wrong day for this. Shit. Okay. I'm really working to move niggas ain't shit out of my vocabulary. Like I have a son, my best friend has sons, I have a godson, like all shit. But I promise you, niggas be finding ways to be ain't shit. And I be really having to bite my tongue. And I be wanting to scream to the rooftops, y'all niggas ain't shit. Shit. I'm just saying. And that is my rant. Like, I be really want to be out here riding for my Black brothers, but y'all ain't shit sometimes. And sometimes y'all ain't shit be not holding your niggas accountable for not being shit. There we go. That's all I got today. Is that my 2 minutes?
Okay. Sorry. Alex, do you have a retort for Jetta?
I have to say, I understand both sides of like I try not to say it as well. Just because I want to say that in my experience, that is not true. But also in my experience, it is. Like there's both, right? There's both. Yeah, George, right. You thought you had a friend. No.
Right. But see, okay, so let me tell you, and George, I'm gonna blame you. This is 110% your fault, okay? And I was talking to a mutual friend of ours. I don't want to say her name without her permission. Consent is always key. But I was like, I really think that knowing genuine people men who are going to be honest with you, men who have goals, aspirations, who can listen and talk to you like you're a human being instead of somebody that they want to put their dick in. You know what I'm saying? Like having that as a friend, and then going out in the world, like I know some of y'all got somebody out here look like this. Y'all, I could talk to you and you're not gonna look at me like a dick insert. You know what I'm saying? And then you don't find that. And then you be looking at niggas like you, George, and be mad as hell. Okay, ain't rant. I ain't ranting no more. Ain't rant.
I
Just saying.
And again, like, and so I agree with that, is that I have a lot of male friends who are good men, like right. Legit good men. But also I have seen the evolution of them as well. It's like, I remember when George wasn't shit. Like, I remember when I did not like Kenny at all, you know? There were days when, like, I just remember knowing them at that stage and understanding that people ain't shit until they learn how to heal, until they learn how to grow, until they recognize their ain't shit ways. Because I know that there's someone out there who thinks that at one point I was shit. Like, I know you know, I know for a fact George got a frat brother who I was not shit to. Like, and that is that is the truth. Like, sweet man, very caring, you know, but I was in a stage where I was like, man, niggas ain't shit. Fuck these niggas. I'm about to do everything I want to do and taking all hearts at this time. And he just happened to be a victim of my pain. And I feel like that's the experience we get. We get the experience of somebody else's pain, and then it becomes they're not shit, which really, they just hurting people. So I
recognize the duality of people, like George always says. I recognize that not everyone who has done wrong to you, and I said this on somebody else's podcast this week, not everyone who's done wrong to you is a bad person. There's trauma, and they have not addressed their trauma, just all these different things. But it really is disheartening because, like, I like older men. Like, it's very rare, if ever, I would date someone younger than me. And so these niggas is 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Like, y'all about to be pawpaws at this point. Like, how much more we got to go? Like, I need to be dating somebody 60 because I don't feel I'm gonna get that old man a heart attack. So
I have a firm belief that if he is 40 and he ain't shit, that is his existence. He will not do any better. That the elevation of a man happens, I feel like, in between like 30 to 40. Like, that's when men start to like change their ways that they so desire. If they hit 40 and they still doing that shit, it's over. It's done. It's a wrap. Every 40-year-old that I done talked to, there is no change in that man's mind or his ways. It ain't happening. So if he's 60, he still was like he was when he was 40.
Right.
All right, so I've been quiet. I'll let y'all go. So
go ahead.
This is my rebuttal.
I'm gonna mute and take it all in.
Jetta, your hypothesis is almost right. I only asked you to change to add one word. Some niggas ain't shit. And like, I'm gonna just be honest, right? Okay. So as Alex has pointed out, there was a point in time where I wasn't shit. And what I had to learn is, and I wish I would have learned it earlier. I'm just be totally honest. I wish I would have learned it earlier, because heel George dealing with a woman, I understand that I could potentially be making her life a little bit harder for whomever her person is, if I mishandle her, right? So I wish I would have learned it earlier. I think the problem is sometimes when you don't have that model of what manhood should look like, because like even me, I had my daddy around, but my daddy GH the first ain't shit. Like I love my nigga. I love my pops. But my daddy ain't shit. He's 60, he damn near 67 years old. We about to be 67 years old. Yeah, about to be 67 years old. Still ain't shit. You know what I mean? Like, I done seen this man pick prostitutes. I done seen this man do a whole bunch of crazy, right? And that was my example. So, and because sometimes when you don't have those positive role models, you don't understand how many people's lives you really fucking up. Like if my dad sat down and talked with me and I told him about all of the stuff I watched him do and how it affected me negatively, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have kept doing what he did. But because we didn't really have that relationship, we never did. Just like for me, at a period of time when I was transitioning from being an ain't shit nigga to okay nigga, I had talked to my son about committing adultery, having children outside of my marriage with his mom, and talking to him about it. And he asked me why. And having to talk to your son honestly and candidly about that, I believe my son gonna probably be the best thing in the world for somebody's daughter, because he understands the effect of what happened. And he saw what happened to his mom, and he saw what I was dealing with and how I chose to act the way I did. So I understand your plight. I understand that some niggas ain't shit. It's just a process. And I do agree with you, Alex. If a man is over 40 years old, still on fuckery, he just ain't shit. And his mama should have swallowed him. Like, that's just what it comes down to. And sometimes, like I told my son, I said, I hope you wait till you like 35 years old to get married. But that's also me telling him that advice based on the fact of the ain't shitness I had and going on until I was 35 years old. But if he gonna be a solid dude and love his woman effectively and be there for her, then hey, you want to get married at 22, that's cool. But we gonna have to talk about that. We're gonna have to talk about it as we push and we move through it, because I want him to be able to have a successful relationship and be successful with whatever he calls a relationship. If it's fidelity, polyamory, whatever it is, I want him to make the best decision for himself.
I see you with this inclusive language. I love it. Okay.
I'm growing.
I love it. That's what's up.
All right, Alex. Don't give me what you got. You got 2 minutes, on the clock.
Man, I guess my rant is it's okay to stop. I everyone knows I got COVID, as I've said it. And it's very, for me, it's still daunting. Like, I don't believe that this actually happened. I test positive like 3-4 times because I was just not in denial about it. But for a while, I think my body was in a place where it was like, girl, just sit down. Like, girl, just sit down. Girl, just sit down. And so it was like, okay, you got COVID. And not only did I got COVID, right? Got it bad. After I got COVID, I got my period. And so I'm a firm believer that COVID stops your period. So I understand why the boosters mess up your period. Because I was supposed to get my period. I got all the symptoms, and then I didn't get it. It just completely cut off. And as soon as I was like, okay, COVID should be out of my system now, that morning, I got my period. And it was like, it was like, you know what? And so I did some research. It was like, basically, COVID stresses your body out to where like your hormones so that you will not get a period. So I don't know. They'll probably do further tests to show like what fertility and COVID have to do with each other. But I realized that like, it's okay for me to sit down, for me to stop, for me to say no. I know everyone sees me as a person who like lives their best life all the time, and I do, but also a part of living my best life is sitting in the house. So I have stayed in the house quite a bit, even like this weekend. Like, I make plans to kind of be in the house. Like, I'll go from my house to your house to someone else's house. Like, I don't really want to go a whole bunch of places. And it has nothing to do with COVID. It just has to do with the fact of like, I'm in a place where it is okay to stop and not have all these, like, I know people have all these New Year's resolutions where they want to like do all these things. And sometimes maybe you should not. And it's crazy how we start the year with Mercury retrograde. Like, that's like, all of it is crazy, is that like, now that I'm coming off my period, Mercury retrograde is now in effect. So it's like, everything in the universe is telling me to sit my ass down, and I will do such. So I say, when you heed the warning, is to sit down, because disease, I feel like, only takes over your body when you are on the of disease. So I definitely was there, and I'm just gonna chill. So that's my rant.
You got it, BG.
So I love how self-aware you are, and I love how you're listening to your body. And this was the lesson that you gathered from all of this. Watch out with Mercury retrograde. This one is going to bring back all of unresolved issues, as it often does, specifically around like business deals or business ideas that you just lay stagnant. Like, things are going to push everything forward for you. So keep that in mind. And also, those past relationships that just kind of people that you ghosted or may have ghosted you. They're going, nope. So they're going to try to circle back. That happens. That has happened to me already. But I love how you are just listening to your body, and you're like, let me sit the fuck down because everything is making me sit the fuck down. So I like it.
Well, yeah, man, damn, that's crazy. So I didn't know that about Mercury retrograde. 2, I'm glad you're listening to your body and you're sitting down. Just because there's a lot we don't know about COVID and the long-term ramifications and stuff like that. So I'm glad that you're listening to your body, taking your time, processing through it. And yeah, man, I think that's some awesome advice, because sometimes you really do have to just sit down. Going through the situation I went through, starting the year off sick, it made me say, sit down. And I'm the type of person, I go to work no matter what. I don't care, like, because I love what I do. But for me, the days that I had to sit at home, oh my gosh. And to tell myself, that job, hardest thing I had to do. because it's just a part of me. I'm gonna go to work every day, no matter what. I'm gonna do some type of work. So, I was podcasting, I was writing all while I was out on the days that I could actually podcast. But then it got to the point where I got like 7 half recorded episodes because I had such bad coughing fits. So listen to your body. And, like even for me telling myself no, when I was like trying to record all the podcasts and stuff, it was so hard. But I bounced back so well. Like today I was in the gym, I worked out, and I feel great. My body feels great, even like right now. So it's just one of those things of just listening to your body. Sometimes you don't got to go fast all the time. Sometimes you just got to chill out. So that's amazing.
So George, I feel as though you should write that down and post it somewhere, because I feel like this is a great lesson for you. Alex, thank you for saying this, because I be worried about you, because you will go 1,000. You like, fuck 100, I'm gonna do 1,000, and I'm gonna do it in like 2 days, and it's gonna be great. And I just be like, George, you gonna push yourself too hard. Oh no, I got it. It'll be fine. Okay, so I'm glad I hate that you got sick. Alex, I hate that y'all got sick to get that, but I'm glad that y'all both had an opportunity to just sit the fuck down, and that y'all learned maybe you should sit the fuck down more often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they say the storm, there always is a warning before the storm. Like you always get the warning before the storm. And I felt it in December. Like December started off real reckless. Like December 1st was a Wednesday. I was turned. Like so I like, it is really important. And I didn't even talk about that fuck that job thing, because I couldn't go to work. Work started back on the 3rd. I got COVID on the 1st. I tested positive on the 2nd. There was no more go to work. And it was all these things I wanted to do. I was like, well, I got COVID, so that means I could do other things. It's like, no, you can't do no other. You can do nothing. Like, do nothing. Sit your ass down. And take time with yourself, because I also feel like as creatives, when you have so much stimulant, like you can't create out of it. Like you can't, develop things that are going to be innovative and go viral if you're always stimulated and always keep going. Because there's a lot of things that they're trying to whisper to you, to speak to you, to download, and you're missing downloads because you're always going. And so that is very important. And
what the funny part is, Alex? The same thing happened to me in December. I was so tired in December. I had a presentation to my CEO, my COO, and I had to go to California, which anybody knows me, to be on a plane for 5 hours, you basically, and I'm alone with my thoughts in the air, can't go do anything. Had internet on the plane, but it was whack. So I really couldn't accomplish anything I wanted to get done. And then I got there, did my presentation, came back, and I ended up ended up having a physical issue that I during that time. And it was one of those things where my body I felt like was giving me a warning shot, like, hey, nigga, wake up. And then as soon as January came, it was like, when I actually got sick, it was like I felt like my body took everything out on me. Like, bro, we was telling you in December, we was tired.
Yep.
And it just made me say, okay, like this weekend was literally, I went this morning, worked out, grocery shop, washed clothes, got a manicure, got a pedicure, did some writing, just relaxed, sat on the balcony, just relaxed, just relax. I haven't really done anything major other than relax. And I'm so charged up. Like after I do this podcast, I'll probably do another podcast, and I'll do another podcast, because I got a lot of different things that I was just going through my head, and I just want to put it out into the universe. And then tomorrow, I'm probably gonna sit down and watch football all day. I'll watch football all day and tweet random stuff. So it's just one of those things. But here's my rant. My rant is very vain. And so today, while in the nail shop, I'm in the nail shop. I'm getting my pedicure done, because I believe as a man, you got to keep your feet done because you never know whose daughter might want to suck them. But anyway, because there's a lot of women that do some things that I'm not going to stop you. I'm going to let you be great. There's a lot of things, I'm not going to say no to too many things. So I'm in there, I'm getting my feet done, and I'm sitting next to a young lady. And she came in, she was in a boot. Took her boot off, right? Like she's in a boot, like she had hurt her ankle or something. But she took her boot off, and I see her toes are polished. So I'm like, oh, okay, so she gets a pedicure on a regular basis. But then when she swings her feet around, and I see her heels, and they're like yellowish green and they're cracked, I'm like, time the fuck out. Ladies, and then she wasn't the only woman in there, because there was a bunch of women in there. So my thing is this, and this is to the ladies who do this shit. Why do y'all do this ghetto shit where you go get your toes done, but you don't get them to scrape the back of your fucking heel? Because I'm just saying, as a nigga that likes feet and they be sucking on toes and stuff like that, you fucking the whole vibe up. Because I like to rub my lady feet. I'm gonna suck on some toes. That's just the type of nigga I am. And the last thing is you gonna sit here and spend $115 to get your toes and your nails done, but you can't get the back of your fucking foot scraped. The fuck is your problem?
That's the thing. Like
look, some bitches is trifling, and I'm not calling them bitches. I don't know their name. All right, so
Dr. GasCanMan said that.
I'll let you finish your rant. Keep ranting.
Okay, because like it just don't make no sense to me. And then the young lady who was doing my feet were like, oh my gosh, your feet are so soft. Like, I could tell you really take care of your feet. And I'm like, yeah, baby, like, come on now. We ain't out here raw dogging the ground. We got socks on our here, cotton socks. We moisturize these motherfuckers because, I'm vain. I remember I used to see what my daddy feet looked like. They was terrible. And the fact that my mama married a nigga that feet looked like that, she got low standards. I think less of her now to this day. But yeah, so get your fucking foot scraped. The end. I know, terrible.
Okay. So
I wasn't even aware that you can go get your feet done without them doing that. Is that school me?
A lot of manicure places make it extra and to get it actually scraped. But if her feet are yellow, those are dietary issues. Not necessarily. You can't do anything. That what I think people don't realize is that like what you do, what you put inside of your body is going to show on the outsides in different ways. And your feet are one of those ways that shows like when you're dealing with heart complications, diabetes, like a lot of those issues that we have. And like, that's why diabetics have to get their feet amputated and stuff like that. It's because all of those impurities they're running out in some direction. And it has nothing to do with getting your feet scraped. But I do understand what you are saying about it. But also, it is expensive to go get a pedicure and a manicure, and all those things are expensive. They do have cheaper ways. Like I have this little, during the pandemic when nobody was open, this girl who I used to be cool with, she bought this basically like a foot soak, and you can put your feet in like these bags, and it'll start to like peel off all the dead skin. It takes 10 days to do it. Like it'll start to come off throughout the 10 days. So you have to deal with it, but it is something that works. I feel like it works really good over time if you just can't afford it. there's other ways to do it if it's not in your budget to go get your feet scraped, because I understand, like, I like paraffin wax. They always charge you $5 extra to get it. But it's some people aren't really happy with themselves, so they feel like if they make everything look really nice, it works really well. Like, when you take care of yourself, your makeup go on easier because it's, you're clear, your skin is clearing out. But I get it. George.
Look, here's the thing. Okay, I just want to give one rebuttal. I understand the ones that have the dietary issues. So if you got a dietary issue, am I talking about you? Yeah, love yourself better. God dang it. But I get it. But I get it. Love your motherfucking self better, because it's like this. You get a right one and you get a left one. You get a right one and a left one. So if you keep eating like shit and your foot, you got to get one amputated, motherfucker, you Hopalong Johnny. And I don't know too many niggas fighting over a female with one leg. I'm just saying. So I'm just gonna tell you like this: love your goddamn self better. Just in case, if you listen to this and you message me or DM me and you say, "Oh, but I got a health-related issue," fix your damn health-related issue. Stop eating whatever the fuck it is you eating that's got you like that. And if you say it's some hereditary shit, I'm gonna say, well, you need to go slap your grandmama and slap your mama because they shouldn't have been eating like that, and you should have fixed that shit and caught the fuck on. I say that because I come from a long line of people with heart issues, cholesterol issues, and it's all self-inflicted. But I still love you though. What you got to say, Jetta?
Okay. I don't know what to say. I don't know why you do this. So yes, I do think that people should love themselves in great ways, and part of that is making sure you take care of yourself, so that your feet don't look like they're about to fall off, and so that you live a nice, happy, long life. That's all I got. That's all I got for that. Oh.
I'm sorry. I just sat there and replayed what I said in my head. That shit sounded so insensitive.
A little bit.
But I mean it. But I mean it.
You're accurate, but it's just the harshness of it.
Okay. So sorry.
I know the Lord is working with you.
I know He's working on me, but sorry. So if I offended you, I apologize. But I don't take back anything I said. I really would hope that you would take a moment, think about yourself, and put yourself first. Put yourself first for like 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about everything else you got going on. Put yourself first for 3 months. Try that out. And then look to find ways to put yourself first as you move forward. It's not being selfish, because if you don't take care of this thing that you have, guess what? Nobody else will.
And if there is trauma associated with you being unable to do so, go seek healing, whatever that looks like for you. It may not be therapy, it may be going to church if you're a church person, but if there's some trauma associated with what's happening with you and your body and all of that, seek some level of healing.
Yes. If you have body dysmorphia,
you are loved and supported and valued.
Yes, here at the GH2 Podcast. But if you have any body dysmorphia issues, anything like that, for real, take the time, go get some help. I'm gonna tell you to go to therapy. I know Black folks, y'all love Jesus and all. But if you gonna go take just the Jesus route, that's cool. But I'm gonna tell your black ass, take some therapy and Jesus, because both of them together do wonders for you. Because as Alex says, you got to take it. It's all together. It's kind of like Alex said, as being the most healed toxic person on this podcast, what I'm going to tell you is you got to make sure that you bring it all together. Because my toxicness, Jesus keeps that in control. And therapy. So put them both together, guys. They work well, mostly when you're working through your own generational curses and all those other fixations and different things that we have. Did that clean that up a little bit better? Because I know I came off rough, y'all.
You
I know I
came in
came off
hot.
rough. I
That
came
was
off rough.
you just
I apologize.
took it.
I
Just
apologize.
He
I apologize.
always comes in hot. It's just not
always
I
us.
coming
apologize.
hot. So Lord,
I'm trying to do better. I'm trying.
we
to do
working
better.
with you. We working with you. We got you.
Whew. All right. So I've been doing a series on the GH2 podcast called Talk Lessons and Bought Lessons. One of the talk lessons about lessons I talk about in the past was you get woe out when you show out, where I learned the lesson that if you play with Dorothea Hardy or George H. Hardy I, they will bust your ass wherever they see fit. Also, you know, where I saw examples of this. And then also another talk lesson and bought lesson. I talked about some other things that I had to learn. So just to give you a quick synopsis, taught lessons and bought lessons. So a taught lesson is a lesson that mama, big mama, your cousin, they take the time and they teach you how to do something. And then you go on and you perfect it and you use it, right? That's a taught lesson. Some of us are hard-headed, so we don't give a damn about these taught lessons, right? So for us hard-headed folks, we got to go buy the lesson, right? So one of the analogies that I always love is if you look on your wall, think about all y'all who got degrees, think about, or just a high school diploma or whatever you got it on the wall somewhere in your house. There's a wall in your brain that has all your taught lessons and bought lessons. And the bought lessons are the lessons where you went out and you did certain things, failed, and you had to pay a penalty for that lesson. Whether it be bad relationships, whether it be children out of wedlock, whether it be you went bankrupt, whether it be you got an STD for being too grown, right? Whatever it is, that's a bought lesson, right? That's a lesson that you went out, you experienced it, and then you dealt with the repercussions. And because of that, you walked away with a lesson. So today's taught lesson, bought lesson was called wants and needs. So I don't know about y'all, but I grew up traditionally. Most people say I grew up poor. Even though both my mother and father were around, I grew up in a situation where, like, I've talked about it several times. It was a very dysfunctional household. My daddy used to make my mama go 50-50 on the bills with him. And my dad he made a whole bunch more money than my mom. So my mom would have to work 3 jobs to make the same amount of money he did. And they would go 50-50 on bills. So because of that, watching that, when it came down to what I wanted versus what I needed, I would be in a situation where you would get what you need, so nobody would say that you're not being taken care of. But my parents had enough money to where they could have probably bought us our wants too, but they never did because they used to worry about their own wants and needs, their own drug habits, their own drinking habits, them going out to the club, them doing, whatever it was they felt that they wanted to do. And because of that, when I became an adult and I started, quote unquote, getting money, I didn't do a good job of dealing with my wants and needs. And it was typical stuff. It was, I started buying necklaces that I didn't need because I thought it would give me validation. I started buying shoes that cost too much damn money because I thought it would give me validation, clothes, different things, so on and so forth, buying gifts for the women that I dealt with and different things like that. And it led me to the brink of bankruptcy. And what I ended up finding out was none of the stuff that I was buying myself really mattered. I ended up getting a financial coach, and he simply just wrote on a sheet of paper wants and needs, and then he took my bank statement. He took my 2 bank statements from both banks I had, and he said, I want you to categorize these things as wants and or needs. And it really fucked my head up because I'm like, well, obviously if I bought it, I need it, right? And so we go through it. And I write wants and needs down on the list and I give it to him. And then he goes back through the list and he recategorizes them. And he goes, so this is why this is actually a want and this wasn't a need. And what ended up happening was I had 243 transactions. 243 transactions in 1 month. In 1 month, 243 transactions. 6 of them were things. Hey man, look, I don't want to talk about it. It was a low time in my life, but
it's okay.
Six of the transactions were actually truly things that I needed to buy. 237 transactions were bullshit, as he so eloquently stated. And what happened was that's when I actually first got into therapy, because that's when I caught on that I was trying to cover up the deficiencies of my childhood by buying, like, because anytime something came out, so you remember when they brought back the Segas, they started reselling the Segas. I bought one just to buy it because I had one, but I got one late. Everybody else was about to get the PlayStation, and I just got the Sega. So like I went back and I was like buying all of this stuff. I think it got to a point where I remember I had 20 something pairs of shoes. I had a closet just for shoes, and it was really bad. And it was a struggle because what I found was I had to go buy that lesson for myself because I didn't see how to operate with money. And it was bad because, you know, it set me back, but I'm not gonna lie, I done got back everything that I done been set back by financially. But it was really hard while going through it because I was like depressed while going through it, like on how I was spending the money and how I was being bad with my money. I remember I would get paid and I would already have it spent. You know, like Kanye said, you know, I had a problem with spending before I get it. You know, like that's really what I was on. Like I was, I'm talking about my check would be spent by Monday. Midnight, chill out, or twilight, or whatever the hell. Can't remember your dog name. But you're like a little Ed the hyena though. Anyways, no, but I got to the point where I was just spending money so fast, and I was spending just because I was needed some validation because I wasn't getting it. Like even though I was a dean and I was making like $70-something thousand, my father never gave me no validation about the fact that, you know, I went to college, even though they didn't think I would. I graduated. I got a master's. I was taking care of my kids, you know, taking care of all of my damn kids, and I was taking care of myself. And I wasn't calling him for money. Like I never got no validation. So I'm sitting there because I didn't get no validation. I got to validate myself with stuff. And it was one of those things where I got so depressed, I actually spent some time in a facility. And a lot of it was around, you know, what I had spent and what I, you know, and everything, what I was doing. And the lesson was hard at the time, but it was well worth it. So it's a little bit easier. Like even now when I'm teaching my son financially, my son has his own bank card. My son is 13 years old. He has a bank card. During the summer, he gets his money. He gets money all throughout the year. He has money in his bank. He knows how to manage his money. My 10-year-old boy, he has money. Like all my kids, they get lessons on managing their money, but I'm a little bit extra harder on my boys because it's really boys who usually use money to validate themselves as they get older. So taught lessons and bought lessons. For myself, wants versus needs was a very tough thing. It was a very tough thing for me to learn. What about y'all? What's a good taught lesson and bought lesson? Do y'all have a taught lesson and bought lesson that lines up with wants and needs? Or maybe you got something else you want to share? Diga man.
Well, Lord, I actually have a pretty, it's not traumatic, but a pretty deep bought lesson. About several years ago, I was going through my divorce. My ex-husband had moved on while we were separated. And so I felt the need to go ahead and move on. And I got in a relationship while I was separated, and it did not end well at all. It was super duper bad. And I ended up going to jail. Yes, ended up going to jail. There was an altercation where he put his hands on me, and I'm a fighter. And he, I like big niggas, so he was big, so that wasn't gonna work out. But I grabbed a knife, and I did not touch him with it. I did not stab him. I did not cut him. I had it for protection, but I ultimately ran because he was gonna knock the shit out of me, honestly. But he was sleeping with a police officer who also happened to be his kid's mother. He called her. She called her partner. She came in her regular car. Her partner came in the police car, and she arrested me. That is the day that I really learned a lot about the justice system and how corrupt it really truly is from the inside. I was in jail for 4 days, roughest 4 days of my life. And I skipped a whole bunch, but George is like, what? I skipped a whole bunch of that. But I learned that I was moving out of, I left my ex-husband because I did not feel loved. I did not feel wanted. I did not feel desired. I did not feel as though, in all honesty, he did not want me. It is what it is. But I continued to move in that vibration. So I got in a relationship to feel that. And instead of taking a few steps back and actually taking the time, sitting my ass down and really working on myself. And so as a result of not listening to everybody around me, listening to what I knew to be true, my bout lesson was, all right, let me show you. Since you got to learn the hard way that you need to leave this nigga alone and you need to sit down and you need to concentrate on yourself, I'm going to make it so you never see him again because you're going to get arrested. Now, with that being said, he's a fucking psycho, and to date will try to reach out to me to date. So, yeah, that was my talk lesson. I went to jail. George is like, what?
So you just gonna spring that on me like I ain't known you for at least 5 years.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You ain't never told me.
I'm
you
sorry.
Ain't told me.
Yeah, I was in the pokey, man.
So did you learn about the prison wallet? Did you put anything in your prison wallet while you?
Why are you like this? Why are you like this? Man, listen, that shit was wild. Listen, I'll tell anybody, if you want to humble yourself real quick, listen, go to jail. It was like an experience I can't even explain what that experience was like. I saw some shit that I know I should never have seen in my life with the correction officers, with it. Like it was a lot. It was a lot.
So I'm gonna take what you just gave, and that's a talk lesson for me because I'm not gonna go buy that shit for myself.
Yeah, don't buy that. I'm gonna tell you, I sold drugs so you don't have to. Don't do it.
Jetta did that, so hopefully I ain't have to go through that. Okay, man. I'm with you, Hope.
Don't do it.
Alex, what you got for us?
So I have a lot of lessons. I in like doing a lot of reflection lately. People ask the question a lot about me, like moving to the Bay and if I like it. And I cannot say yes, but I also cannot say no. For a lot of reasons. It's because it has put me in a place of isolation a lot. And in that place of isolation, I've read more books living here than I have ever read in my life. I feel like I work a lot more on myself, more than I ever have. And I will say that through that, there was one book that I read that I love still to this day, and that's the 48 Laws of Power. And after reading the 48 Laws of Power, I had a conversation with a friend of mine about 48 Laws of Power, and he told me about how he had created his own laws. And so in that, I did the same thing, going through the lessons and the things that like I need out of life. Like, what are the things that I need every day for me? And so I created 7 laws of Alex. And the 7 laws of Alex, the first is love thyself first. You know, it's the greatest of all commandments. I feel like is, you know, like love your neighbor like you love yourself. And I feel like that's a hard one because you do love people how you love you. And when you don't love you, you can't love people properly. And so then I have create life consciously. I think a lot of things in life I've done life has happened to me, not necessarily me making life happen. Even moving out here, this was a very unconscious move that happened a little bit consciously, like I was ready to go, but didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Keep only what serves you is my 3rd law. Learning to let go of things, learning to not keep them when you don't need them. Sometimes as a Capricorn, you know, we're known to be loyal to a fault sometimes. And I have to learn that that is not what I need. If it's not serving me, it's gotta go. Stay aligned and acknowledge imbalance is my 4th one. Be gentle to self is also another one. I can be very hard on myself, very like when I make a mistake, why would you do that? Being very upset when things happen. Like there's things that will happen that will turn my whole day upside down. Simple stuff like getting a parking ticket. And then not understanding like, you know what, just be thankful to the universe you have money to pay for it and move on. Like, it's not that deep. It's not that serious. Don't park there again. What are you doing in your life to change these situations? Honor your inner feelings. When I don't feel okay, that's okay. And when I feel great, that's also okay. Is that sometimes I feel burdened because other people may not be in a good place. And like, it's like, well, I'm happy. So even like going through COVID, like during this whole pandemic, you watch people go through turmoil and you're like, I remember I was hanging out with the same girl who I'm not cool with no more. She was like, we can't post stuff that like we're in a good mood and like other people are hurting. I've hurt for so long and people was posting good stuff. Like they was living their life. Then the 7th one, which actually I ended up making 8, so I didn't realize it was 8, but consume my own time. Do what you want to do with your time. Like it's a lot of times I allow people to consume my time when I don't want them to, and then improve self consistently is my last one. And that in that regard does not mean that I'm always doing something. Sometimes improving myself means sitting down. So those are my laws. Those have all come through lessons, taught and bought, and it's something that I always have to keep acknowledging. I have to actually order posters, which is going to be one of the most conceited things that I ever do in my life, I've ever done in my life, is I have posters of myself with my laws on them, and I'm going to hang them up around my house in 16 by 20 frames. They're coming in, they'll be here next week. And learning that like Alex I am the most important person in my life. And without me, life doesn't go. And so whatever it is, however it looks like, and even like going through my divorce, like I went through a divorce too. And the one thing that we always, when we get on, we are We are 100%
divorce rate, baby, on
unsuccessful
this
in
call.
marriages. And honestly, I don't feel like it's not a success. I feel like through a divorce, I have learned so much more about me that I ever could have learned not going through it. And so that's just that. It is what it is. Life is full of lessons. People are mirrors of you, and the real reality is we're in a matrix, and this is a simulation. And so a lot of things that we see, what I've had to learn is either a projection or a reflection. And when it is a reflection, to take heed to what is reflecting and why it bothers me or why it brings me joy, and taking that and running with it as much as I can. So that's where I'm at.
You know, you had me with the 7 laws. I was gonna tell you, oh, send me one, and then you said you gonna put yourself on the poster. I was like, get the fuck out of here, Alex. I can't have that shit in my house. I already get accused of dealing with you on some level, so I can't do that. Have a picture with you with the 7 laws around my house. People will be up in my goddamn house. Oh, that's the little she be doing podcast with? No, you gotta take this shit down. So I'm good, but I was going, you know what? This is what? Send me the 7 and I'll create my own, and I'll make sure I give you credit, and I'll put a picture of myself on there. How about that?
Okay.
I think it's a project. Do it. Do it.
So I just want to say, man, I appreciate y'all taking the time, giving me y'all talk lessons about lessons, different things. Jetta, thank you. That is a talk lesson. You gave me a talk lesson. Alex, you definitely just gave me a talk lesson. I like your, because I love the 48 Laws of Power. I have it in my car. I have it in my room. Every time I fly, I take it with me because I always read it. Anybody who knows me for real in corporate America, they know I live by the 48 Laws of Power. And I think that you should take your laws for yourself, and you got to let people know you are principled to some effect. And I think that when you do take your life that seriously, you do understand how this is a simulation. You are player one. You're player one. And I think a lot of times we don't live our lives like that. And that's why I think you have so many people who are unhappy with themselves. You have so many people that are unfulfilled because they're not taking care of player one. You are not a Luigi ass nigga. You're Mario. I want you to, if you don't pull nothing from this podcast in your own damn life, you're Mario. Stop being a fucking Luigi. All right. With that being said, this has been a wonderful episode of GH2 Podcast. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, BG. You know, if you want to find Alex, go ahead and tell them where they can find you at. Because it's real simple, y'all. Y'all can find her real easy out here.
You can find me real easy. It is Alex the Alex Inc. on everything, even email, even Cash App. Just put the $sign in front. Alex the Alex Inc. Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr. I do have a Tumblr. Don't talk shit. I got a Tumblr because I do design work and I put it up on Tumblr. So,
okay. You don't be posting like sad hoe poems and stuff like that on Tumblr, do you?
No, I put my designs on Tumblr.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, cool. And no naked pictures and that.
No, I put my designs on Tumblr. I'm not putting no naked pictures on no.
I'm just trying to ask the questions because we got males who be like, hey, shoot me her info, and I'd be like, hey, just like me and Jetta did a podcast, and dudes were like, hey, what's her information? And Jetta know because they slid and came and followed Jetta. So I'm just saying, I'm just answering questions. Just there's male folks that follow me, and they might be trying to follow you.
Be respectful is my. You can always shoot a shot, just shoot it respectfully.
Facts. Or she will matumble your shit. Jetta, tell us where we can find you at.
Say It To Me Nice podcast on everything except Clubhouse because I had to get fancy. So Twitter is at Say It To Me Nice. IG at Say It To Me Nice podcast. Yeah, that's it. Oh, listen to my podcast, available on all podcasts and platforms.
Yes. And her Gmail said to me nice podcast. But,
Yes,
everything.
it is. It is.
Everything. So, of
Don't
course,
get the good gospel of sex. Come on.
yeah, she talks about the sex and butt stuff and all that other good stuff.
Yes.
Open your mind up. Fellas. Definitely, fellas. I'm gonna tell y'all need to go check out her podcast and just listen to it. Right? Here's why. Like I had to have some very tough sexual conversations with my children, but Jetta knows I listen to her podcast. I use all of the positive words you're supposed to use with speaking to these kids.
I'm so excited.
I'm gonna tell you like this: take the education when it's being given to you, and understand that this world is transitioning and it's moving. So when we're dealing with our kids or we're dealing with LGBTQ situations with our children, or we're explaining it to our children, you want to make sure you educate them correctly without bias so that you can show where you're really at in life. And you really want to help them. You want to make sure you inform them fully so that they can make their own responsible decisions, whatever they choose to do. And best believe that's hard for me to say because I grew up in a Black church and, we don't give nobody no choice.
I love how you said that, Georgie. I'm so proud of you. That was so awesome. I love when Black people, because my podcast is for Black people, I'm calling it what it is. It is. We recognize that sexuality is part of your lifespan, human lifespan development. It's just it's a natural part of life, and you can have conversations about sex at every age, just using age-appropriate language and having age-appropriate topics. So I love it. Yay!
Amen. And I pray God bless me that this did keep working until the day I die. All right, with that being said, we're gonna get up out of here.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.